Hi all, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to make a Basilicanum statue, or Basilicanum. I'm gonna start with a skull that I got from the local dollar store, our local dollar store, Action. And I figured this would be a good base to use as the head for something I was planning. And then I sketched out roughly how I wanted my statue to look like. I also made a cowl out of double corrugated cardboard, so the skull can fit nicely into it. I made some grooves to attach it to the statue, but in hindsight that is totally not necessary, but you will see why in a couple of minutes. Now first we're going to begin by bulking out the statue, and I started out using tin foil, but you can use newspaper as well, which I switched to in a little while. It's cheaper and I had a lot of newspapers laying about, so I figured I use that instead of the tin foil, as you see me do here. Scribble it up and bulk it out till you're happy with the shape that you like. And yeah, when that is done, just use some masking tape to hold it into position, as you will see me do in a minute or so. Here we go. Just use the masking tape to stick it down. We're gonna cover the entire piece in paper mache later on. And here we see a nice packaging. And as you can see, I realized that it was totally not necessary to make the grooves, because naturally the statue has been bulked out, so of course it would not fit anymore. So I was thinking, how am I going to fix this? Well, first I'm gonna bulk it out a little further, as it was too thin to my liking so far. More masking tape, more newspaper. There we go. Now I'm going to, as you see here, the grooves are not necessary, but I am gonna dry fit this. Now I'm gonna attach the skull into the cowl simply by hot gluing it inside. Before I do that, first I'm gonna roll up some more newspaper sausages. These will represent the folds and creases into the robe of the statue. I am gonna mention that the paper mache part of this video, well, I had an accident and my battery of my cell phone died while I was filming this. But yeah, it's basically what I did then was cover the entire statue in white PVA glue, watered it down a little bit, and then started tearing off some chunks of toilet paper, sticking them on, and then dabbing them on with a wet brush. Not completely soaked, but wet enough. And yeah, so that's how I covered the entire statue with the paper mache later on. But unfortunately you won't be able to see that on this video, because as I said, my camera died. Here you can see me gluing the head into the cowl. It's a little bit of a wobbly head here, but we'll fix that later. Now time to glue on the folds. Just use some hot glue, and the sausages you rolled from the newspaper, just simply glue them into position. You can simply snip off the edges, and there we go. Doesn't look like much now, but it will when it's finished. Excuse me. Now let's attach the head. Again, using hot glue. It is a very easy build this, but I like, yeah, it's a nice, impressive piece on the table. Now I'm gonna fill up the part between the neck and the cowl. As I said, otherwise you get a big wobbly head. That just looks ridiculous. Just put hot glue down, jam some newspaper into it, and it will put it into position, and it won't go anywhere. Now here I just simply thought I just use the folds on the upper cowl, just do them with hot glue. First I wanted to do them with tin foil and newspaper, but I decided to go with hot glue. Don't forget to do the back part of this part as well, okay? Now let's make a simple sword. Just use a coffee stirrer, or that's what I used, and I snipped off one end to a point, as you see me do here, to make the sharp end of the sword, like this. As for the hilt, you can go for whichever way you want. I decided to go for this. Just use some foam board. Careful not to cut yourself. I did not cut myself, but I came very close a couple of times, so don't do what I do. Be safer when you do this, okay guys? Here I'm finding the halfway point and drawing some lines to the center to make the shape of the hilt, like a bow tie. So as you see me do here, don't do that. Be careful for your fingers. I was lucky, but try to be safer than I am doing this. Now let's put some more things on the sword, like the handpiece. I don't know how to call it in English. The hilt, the grip of the sword. I'm just using a wooden dowel here. I'm using some pliers to cut it. Now I'm going to attach everything with hot glue. Now to put some decorations on the sword. Raid your junk box, see whatever fits, whatever you have. I'm testing out a few things as well. This thing I've used in many crafts before. I don't know what it is, but it's an awesome thing. Here I'm doing the pommel of the sword. Just simply using some beads. Now you can go a lot further than I do in decorating this. You can wrap some rope around the handle of the sword. Here I cut out a piece of foam board in the shape of a shield, pressed in a hammer of a Stormcast Eternal I had. But I eventually made another shield and drew in the symbol of the Black Templars. But I kept this one and used it on another statue. Here we go. And this is where my camera died when I decided to put on, this is the sword, where I decided to put on the paper mache. But before I do that, I take 2 triangles out of corrugated cardboard, and I use that for sleeves. And the sleeves I've done in the same way as we did the cowl, just simply the same way. So we glue them to the side, and then I drew some cardstock hands and glue them in. Now these hands I folded across the hilt of the sword and then attached everything with hot glue. But before I did that, just cover the entire piece in white glue. Then take some toilet paper, stick it on, take a wet brush, dab it on. You can use a spray bottle as well with some water, but spray lightly that you don't soak it. And then keep covering it. Most of you probably used this technique to make rocks or whatever. Then when that is dry the next day, first we spray paint it with a matte black, then we overspray it with some matte gray, and then zenithal from above with a matte white. When that is done, I'm covering the entire piece in a black wash and then dry brushed it. Now this is the Black Templar symbol, as I said. Now this circle halo is simply a piece of foam board and that I cut out and then jabbed some toothpicks into it. The base is just some foam board that I dry brushed and painted in the same way. As you can see, this is the triangle I was talking about. It's the same way as I did the cowl. Then I just simply glued it onto the side. Just when it's done, also dry brush it to get the texture and stone texture out of it. The metallic parts are painted with some Balthazar gold. I also glued on a chain, wrapped the chain around the sword as well. So yeah, I do apologize for this video being a little incomplete maybe. Also, I tied a rope around it. Just feel free to add whatever details you see fit to make this project your own. These are the hands that I cut out of some Starbuck. It's very light, this thing. So yeah, here's my dog. Hi doggy. So this is the finished piece. I still hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I do apologize for the loss of footage, and maybe I do hope that the text I put on the video will be enough to explain most of the parts what I did. Don't be put off by not seeing the entire video. It is a fun project to do. It's really easy to make and it looks great on the board. So yeah, I can encourage you to make a few of yourself, but when you do, just make a bunch of them, because yeah, the more you have, these really look cool on the table. So I would like to thank you all for watching, and thank you all for the support you've been giving me. I've noticed that my subscribers are growing, so thank you very, very much to all of you. And I will continue to make videos. So I do hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. See you next time, guys. Bye bye.